Hey everyone, Mano back here with another Destiny 2 strategy guide. In today's video, we're going to be knocking out a solo flawless run of the Harbinger mission, but this time we're going to be doing it on my hunter, as there have been many requests on how to do that and get a solo flawless with it. I'm going to go ahead and go through the weapon breakdown kind of as we move into the different position. I'm not going to be covering anything major in terms of how to actually complete the mission. I'm mainly going to be talking about the tips and strategies that I use on this run so that if you want to get a solo flawless on your hunter, you have a potential build. Now, all of these weapons that I'm using are suggestions, but I tried to pick things that people would very easily have in their inventory if they are someone who is running solo versions of this. On this particular run, I could have very easily gotten a sub 15, but I wanted to err on the side of caution. Also, there are some RNG elements that play into the ability to get an actual sub 15 run, and I'll talk about those as we move through. But again, this build could easily get you a sub 15, be the best way for a hunter to do it, at least in my opinion. Now, if you're on a Warlock, that's probably the best and easiest class to use. All you need to do is strap on Riskrunner and then turn on your Devour build and you're good to go. But we're going to actually show you that video a little bit later, try and get a sub 10 minute. I know that a couple of other YouTubers have done that, but if you're interested, make sure you subscribe to the channel and go ahead and click that button and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. All right, well, with that, let's go ahead and get into the video. You will notice that I am actually shooting the wall here. There is a reason why I'm shooting that wall, is because of that, it is going to draw the wizard over to the left-hand side. You'll see the wizard is actually approaching that area. I'm primarily going to be using smoke grenades to make myself invisible to keep myself alive, but I'll also be using the dodge that allows me to get my smoke grenades back as quickly as possible as well. I'm also using the chest piece, the 6 coyote, that allows me to get my dodge, or to get an additional dodge in this case. Now, if you're going to do a speed run of this, you do not need to kill those snipers, but I'm going to do it because I'm erring on the side of caution. I want to show people how to get a solo flawless, not a sub 15 solo flawless. But if you were going to do a sub 15, you just skip those guys altogether, stay to the right side over in this area, and just make sure that you stay to the wall so that the snipers can't see you. Now, right here is a prime example of what to do with Riskrunner. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and get our conductor procced on this character here. And this is a perfect example of RNG not treating me the best. There's been a lot of opportunities when I've just run this just for kicks and giggles, where I've actually been able to get those enemies to actually teleport to their rooms almost immediately. Now, unfortunately, in this case, the hobgoblins, or excuse me, the Vex goblins actually were able to shield him quick enough and actually start doing damage to me. So right here, I need to dodge, I need to take cover. If you are doing a speed run and you get to this point, just reset your run if you're trying to get a sub 15, because the truth is that's going to waste too much time. You really need to get a clean run on all these folks to get the sub 15. Now, here you'll notice that I dodge quite a bit just to get my smoke grenades back. Nothing major here. I'm going to go ahead and go this way, and I'm going to get my health back because I want to be safe. Even at this point, if one of the taken emissaries shoot their blighted attack at me, this final solar shield guy right here, for example, I could instantly die. So I'm making sure that I get all of my life back. Now, here's another version of bad RNG. Unfortunately, he moved to the opposite side. He gets shielded by the Vex goblins. And so now you can see that I'm using cover to make sure that I am alive. And here you'll notice I get my sword energy back, and then I dodge, use my smoke grenade, get out of trouble, and keep moving. Now, that won't always get you out of trouble, but it will get you out of trouble 9 times out of 10. I'll share with you some opportunities that will not always work so well with the smoke grenades. If you're doing a speed run, you do not need to kill this guy right here, but I'm going to do that just because I'm going to hopefully get a little bit more ammo. I'm going to go ahead and switch to a shotgun at this point, because what I'm going to do is do a lot more close range encounters. I'm going to go ahead and use Riskrunner to kill these folks too, so I don't die at this point. Now, at this room, you can go ahead and just lean into Riskrunner because all the enemies shoot arc, and you can just hold down the button, spray, and pray. You can see that I'm getting a lot of critical hits on him. If you do want to try and go maybe an extra second or two faster, you can always turn on your sword after you break his shield and rip through him. But luckily there, he was in a good spot and I wanted to save some of my sword ammunition. I'm going to need that for later. Now, right here, you can see why I'm changing to a shotgun. I'm taking those guys out as I move to this area over here. And now here, I really do recommend, if you're just trying to be safe, that you take out those taken thrall, because they have solar abilities in their claws. And if they gang up on you on your way back from this next room we're going to go to, they can kill you. Unfortunately, that is something that can happen because increased solar damage in this area is a thing. Now, unfortunately, the wizard does not actually go into their grenade like she does 9 times out of 10. So right here, I'm going to have to improvise a little bit. I'm going to wait till that solar gets out of the way. This is one of the times where invisibility will not help you out. That solar attack from the wizards can see through your invisibility. So if you see any kind of a solar attack starting up, you need to back out of that room. As soon as the emissary is dead, I'm going to move on to the next area, and I don't actually need to kill all those enemies. I just need to hunt the emissaries and kill them. Take a left right here, and we're going to head to the third and final room here. This is a pretty good clear of this section. You're going to see me use my smoke grenade and actually go into this next area. If you end up firing and attacking any of those enemies, her hobgoblin friends or goblin friends will actually shield her at that moment. So if there's any way you can go in there without shooting your weapon so that the goblins don't shield her, that is the strategy, because otherwise you have to run around the room with her shooting you with the homing solar attacks. It is not a good time. With that, go ahead and follow the hawk. We're going to go into the dam area where we're going to go ahead and finish the final piece. Again, if you're going for a speed run, don't worry about killing this guy. Just run past him. But again, I'm looking to pick up as much ammunition as I can just to make sure that I'm good to go on this run. Now, when we get into this room, this is where I'm going to be changing in from a Riskrunner to some of my pulse rifles. I'm going to use the On 7. I'm going to use the Stars and Shadow pulse rifle, as well as the Last Perdition. So that's going to cover all 3 of my different subclasses or energy types, at least based on light. So right here, you can see Riskrunner made very short work of that enemy. However, there is going to be a number of snipers that are taking me out. Some people like using the Riskrunner at this point with a anti-barrier mod, but I do not. I think it takes too long to rip through those enemies and those enemy shields because of the ranges right there. I'm going to go ahead and just use my pulse rifle and knock these folks out. Now, occasionally, sometimes they can accidentally fall down, which is a little bit annoying because then you have to chase them down. But here, I think I only have to do 1 or 2 enemies that actually fell down. Like, I think right here in this section, I'm going to have to go chase him down. Now, the reason I changed to my Yon 7 here is because it is arc. I will be able to take care of all of these ads really quickly and make sure that I take out the Centurion that is rocking an arc shield. So at that point, I'm good to go. I'm going to finish this final guy here. You can finish him if you want to. You can just go through. Now you can see here, I'm going to change to my Stars and Shadow. And the reason I'm going to change to that is because the next wave of enemies is actually going to include a couple of solar shield folks. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and get to this area, recharge my sword, and sword the captain that comes into this area. And hopefully, if you're using Falling Guillotine, hopefully if you get the spawn right, you can actually knock him out in only a couple of swipes. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for me, so I'm going to have to go back in. And you'll notice that every time I am running this, you'll notice that whenever I can, I am getting my grenade back so that I have a smoke grenade ready to go. Now, I'm going to use my unstoppable shot with my shotgun and then knock out the captain. After that, I should have finished him at that point just so I could have gotten a little bit more ammunition. I am running the Spoils of War mod, and I would have been able to get some heavy ammo, but in the heat of battle, I did not want to die, especially since I only had a couple of chances to get a solid run. And so here at this point, I'm going to go ahead and knock out some enemies, make sure that they're good to go. And again, a sword is really nice here, especially with Falling Guillotine with Relentless Strikes and Whirlwind Blade, because you can get some good builds up on energy as well as save quite a bit of ammunition. After you kill that last captain, I'm going to go ahead and change to my Last Perdition because there are 2 wizards that are going to spawn in, as well as 2 unstoppable champions. Now, if you do it right, you can actually get in position of those wizards so you don't have to worry about chasing them down, but it is imperative that you get to cover as quickly as you possibly can to knock out those wizards, because they will wreck you very quickly. Their solar attacks are deadly here. Now right here, I'm going to go ahead and use my super, and I'm not going to be using it for damage on the boss. I'm mainly going to be using it just to go ahead and kill those enemies. Now at this point, I see that the wizard has shifted over to the right hand side. I'm going to do as much damage to that enemy as much as I possibly can. I'm going to move up here. And again, if you see the wizard start to move into this area, you need to reposition very quickly, because that wizard can end solo flawless runs in a heartbeat. So whatever you can do to stay safe, that is your best call. I'm going to go ahead and use an unstoppable shot on that enemy as well. That champion is going to go ahead and get wrecked here. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and finish as soon as it gives me the ability to, because with Spoils of War, I'll be able to get some ammunition, and I can see I'm back up to full sword ammo. Here, I don't need too much to go ahead and do the same thing to this enemy. And now I'm going to go ahead and chase down the final enemies. Since I've got a little bit more sword ammo down below, I can go ahead and just use my sword on these folks and not worry about a thing. I'll have full sword ammo. When we go to the next area, I'm going to change to a sniper, because there are going to be a couple of opportunities where I want to use my sniper instead of a shotgun. I'm going to switch back and forth. But of course, whenever you've got ammunition that you can pick up in this room, it's always a good idea to pick it up so that you don't get to the final boss room and not have any ammunition. Nothing major about this next point, but there is a little shortcut that you can take in the jumping puzzle to make sure that you're good to go. If you are missing the 5 paracausal feathers, go ahead and check out my guide to find all 5 of them. If you're going to run this on a Titan, I have another guide for you if you have not seen that yet. A really good guide if you were trying to stay alive in here, and a nice, easy, fast solo flawless guide. So here you can see that I changed to my sniper here. If you're on a warlock, you can actually go all the way across to the other side, but I am on my hunter and I don't really feel like I can hit that with stompies. So we're going to move on to the next area. As you go through here, make sure that you hug the wall, and if there's enemies you don't need to fight, just go ahead and skip them. They might do a little bit of damage to you, but nothing major. Now here is where there is an excellent skip. Instead of going up on that pipe, what you're going to do is come down here to this second platform right here. What we're going to do is we're going to hug the wall as much as possible, and if we need to, we're going to go ahead and push through with this sword. And again, this is made on January 26th, 2021. So it's possible that if you are watching this video that might have actually been fixed. If that's the case, just go ahead and make your way around. Now here, I'm going to go take out a couple of hobgoblins. You can see that I'm on the other side of the map because I took the shortcut. At this point, you do need to be careful because you can get pushed off by the taken traps that are through the wall. But there are a couple of taken thrall. They're going to push you at this section. And then there is a wizard in this next area. I'm going to go ahead and make myself invisible, use a heavy attack with my falling guillotine, rip through her shields. And then what I'm going to do is take care of a couple of snipers in this area. Again, if you really want to get a speed run in, you don't have to do this. I'm just doing this to show anyone who is playing Hunter how you could get a solo flawless run, and I'm erring on the side of being safe. At that point, I've killed all the snipers. I'm going to change to my shotgun so I can get my unstoppable shot, because there is one more champion I need to kill. At this point, I'm going to be feeling lucky because I got all that ammunition. At this point, this is where you're going to need to be careful, because you can get pushed off the edge, and it's very easy to accidentally miss the shot for the unstoppable. You'll see here that I'm trying to do as much damage here, and I can't actually get him to go to the next side. He can push you to the edge very quickly, so what I'm doing is just using my abilities to make sure I get around the corner and I don't die. And you'll notice again, I'm not using my sword here. I'm waiting so that I can get full sword ammo in this next area. Now that we're in this room, it is very, very important that we make sure that we balance our damage sessions, and also making sure that we've got a couple of grenades in our back pocket in case if we need to get out of there. I'm running double concussive dampener on this character because of that hit right there. If you're not running concussive dampener, that is pretty much going to be a one-shot. As soon as you get him to teleport, go ahead and take a second to, after you get the boss to teleport, there are going to be 2 knights with solar shields that are going to spawn up. The first taken knight is going to spawn to the right of the entrance that you came in. So as you entered into the room, it's going to be over to the right-hand side. The last one is going to be to the left-hand side. Now, unfortunately, because of the way things work here, unfortunately, one of the two knights are going to get shielded. It's almost a guarantee. And so what you have to do is you have to balance how you're going to do damage and making sure that you don't actually die, because the solar attacks that those folks use is very, very deadly and can end runs very quickly. All right, as we move through here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my sword as well as a little bit of some Riskrunner here. This I was still experimenting with. I'm not sure how I feel about Riskrunner in this area, especially since match game is on. I do change to a last perdition a little bit later on just to make sure that we're good to go, but I know that any kind of a void weapon in this room especially is really solid, because there's really only a couple of solar enemies and they can be negated by a falling guillotine really well. So using any kind of a solar weapon that you enjoy, especially one that is in the energy slot and is a primary that can rip through some shields, would be the best. Now, as you go through here, what you need to do is make sure that you kill all of the acolytes that are spawning all of the acolyte eyes. While you can leave the acolyte eyes up for a little bit, they will continue to do damage to you. So just err on the side of caution and go after those enemies as quickly as possible. Using long range weapons here is a good option, but again, if you're going for speed, you are going to have to play a little bit more risky to get through to these enemies. You want to make sure you've got good range, good distance, and a lot of times the acolyte eyes will actually spawn up and be right next to some of the enemies, and they'll actually die when you hit their shields. Next up here, I'm going to use my tether and do a ton of damage to the boss. As soon as that's done, I'm going to go in, use my sword, and get him to teleport to the final area. Get out of there as soon as I can, because he will continue to do damage even though he is teleporting and immune. So you want to make sure you don't have that happen. Now here, I'm going to go ahead and reverse sides, and hopefully if you're doing a speed run, you can get lucky and you can get him before any of the Vex goblins actually shield him from doing damage. But unfortunately in this case, I could not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck a grenade up there. Hopefully that will kill the Vex enemy that is, or the Taken enemy that is shielding him at that point, the Taken goblin. You can see now he is by himself. The only shield he has is the solar, and you can see that the falling guillotine rips through that entire shield. Not even a big deal. It does a lot of damage to his base energy and his life bar, so that's actually really nice. Here you really do need to be careful, and at this point I'm going to get some invisibility and make my way up to the top. And again, you need to make sure that you're switching between your sword and your other weapons and getting your invisibility grenade, because if you don't do that, you will definitely not get your smoke grenades back. Instead, you'll be charging your sword, which you don't want to do. Here's another case of where the knight actually got lucky and actually got a little bit of a shield before I could do anything about it, but very, very easily handled. Nothing major here. And again, erring on the side of caution, I'm going to go ahead and change a couple of different weapons. I didn't get my invisibility. If I hadn't gotten my invisibility smoke bomb here, what I would have done is I would have really quickly used that and gone to go sword some of the different enemies in this area. But instead, I'm going to use my void pulse rifle. Again, this is not required. There is nothing about this build that's required, by the way. There are tons of different ways to do this. A lot of people's play style is a little bit different. Some people don't really feel really good about taking really quick risks. Some people, they just like taking risks, and that's where they live. You got to think about what weapons are going to work well with your play style. I had some people in the previous videos talking about Malfeasance, Truth Teller, Arbalist. All of those are good options, but you also have to make sure that you're keeping track of what you have in your armory, so that if you need something in your vault that you can use, that you've got it. Unfortunately, not everyone has all the weapons in the game, so you kind of have to see what you've got in your vault and work with what you got there. Again, here I'm going to go ahead and take care of a couple more of the enemies. Luckily, the final boss has very, very little health left. The final boss will sometimes actually spawn in and it will look like he has full health, but the truth is he's nearly at 20%. You can see here he's going to take a second. He spawns in and it's going to say that he's at full health, but that's actually not true. Now again, I'm erring on the side of caution. I'm below half health here. I do not want to die. I want to go in with my full life in the meter, and as well as a charged sword, so that I can go through and rip through the boss. And there is your mission complete for Harbinger on the Hunter. Again, this could have easily been a sub 15, but I was very much playing it safe. I had a couple of unfortunate things that happen with RNG. I hope that you folks enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, as well as leave a comment down below. Let me know what you ran as you did this final boss battle. What did you enjoy? What weapons did you use? I'm always interested in hearing what other people are using. As always, if you are looking for a great community to join up, make sure you join our Discord server. The link for that is in the description box below. We have some amazing people there, as well as some great LFGs, meme channels, pets channels, lots of things that you can interact with and have a lot of fun with. And as always, if you haven't checked me out at twitch.tv/ManoDestra777, where I do PvE help, raid help, dungeon help, Hawkmoon help, anything that you need, come on over to twitch.tv/ManoDestra777. We'd love to have you. As always, thank you so much for watching. Good hunting, Guardians, and I will see you next time in the universe of Destiny.